Focus okay ah? Since I'm dark. It might not focus on me.
Oo, astaga na. Begini nih di belakang nih.
And
We go!
hello everyone. Hello everyone. Ini bos-bos boleh susah mo. Bikin takut kalau mau suruh duduk. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. We have a very nice crowd. Welcome to an edition of the Sip Sip Show, where we try to get Sabahans to tell their stories, because Sabahan stories are very under-documented, and this is an initiative to document lah, you know, and at the same time I guess just to gather around, mingle and make more friends. I am with, I mean you guys know lah, I mean for you guys at home watching this, wherever you are, with me today, tonight, this evening is... Okay, saya bukan mau menjilat, saya bukan mau menganjing, but this guy has contributed to the music scene of Sabah sangat-sangat banyak. With him realizing or not, he has been, I mean, people call him a veteran, people call him, apa lagi dia panggil?
Old.
The
Uncle.
He's the anneh
The
of the
dad.
Sabah music scene.
That's a good one. The anneh.
Yeah. Chris Pereira,
What's up?
welcome.
Thank you. Shout out to Smart Valve for the sound system and the mic.
So, where do we start? I mean, I've been practicing in the mirror like berabis ni, because I've known Chris since we were
5 years old.
5. So we it's like
30.
kindy years, and then sekolah rendah, and
Bloody 38 years, bro.
shit.
We've known each other longer than Hafiz been alive. That's so sad.
Lama.
That's amazing. At the same time, it's like, really?
Yeah.
So I think it's to reset everything up, because you've known me for so long, right? I think it's come at me with a fresh perspective of not thinking that the answers that you think are the answers anymore. Because, like, you know, 38 years, how many times we pivoted in the industry, things have changed, shops have closed down, businesses have changed, what we do have changed, what we don't do and all that. So I think the answers are different now. I think.
Before we go to the industry lah, we go to the now, the today. Let's go back. Sekejap lah, just for intro sake, just for context.
Let's go.
Saint Anne.
Okay, for those who don't know, St. Anne is the school in Labuan. So it's
Take
both
it away.
a kindergarten and a primary school. The secondary school is an all-girls school. So the guys only go to the kindergarten and primary. Yeah. So that's where we met in St. Anne Kindergarten. So St. Anne, this is how small St. Anne was when we were studying. It only comprised of 2 classes. Class Merah, red class, and the blue class. So that was it. It was just 2 classes for the whole freaking school. So from kindergarten all the way to primary 6, it was just 2 classes all the way. But it was packed lah. We like I think when we finished primary 6, before we went secondary, we were maxed out at like 56, 58 students a class. And that's a small class, so like really sardined in. And random historical fact, Shewa. So St. Anne, the primary school, has been around since before World War II. So we had Vietnamese war vets that came one day, and they were walking around the school telling us what was what before. And then our classroom had holes in the ceiling. We had like 3 or 4 holes in the ceiling. So they were pointing and they were telling us that was where they were hiding when the British came in and shot through the ceiling to see if there were any war criminals or people from the in the war hiding in the ceilings. So then that's only when we realized after all these years that the holes in the walls were actually bullet holes and not just termite holes. So we were like, but yeah, that's how old the school is. And yeah, that was an end. And that is 1992, primary school.
What was a normal day for you, like after school? Is it like did it build you to the person like you are today?
Hell no. I don't think my upbringing influenced my musical stuff a lot. A lot of it happened after. So I was just a regular kid lah. Never studied. Went to tuition, messed around. Was more interested in playing basketball than doing schoolwork. Like I would cheat my schoolwork lah, thanks to Dora. I would get to school early the next day and I'll copy her work so that my homework is completed. So
Sure.
yeah. So I had to eat it. But I knew, like I thought I could draw. Then I saw his drawing and I hated him because his drawings were
I
better.
didn't draw.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
you did.
I did. Yeah.
And I would think our batch, we were the ones that would exchange toys. Like who had the new He-Man figure, who had the G.I. Joe figure, and we pass it around and play around with it, blow things up. But normally for me after school was back to my granddad's place, had lunch. Primary school I don't think I did tuition much. And that was just about it, man. Oh, the only thing I really did was get lost in books. Because Labuan was just an island, right? And there's not much to do. Everybody knew everybody. So books was my escape. So that's where National Geographic came in. Oh yeah, so that's where my interest in photography came in. So National Geographic's the magazines. My uncle was a subscriber. So those magazines were my escape from Labuan, and the visuals I loved a lot because they were telling a story without even having to read the article. So reading the article empowered the visuals more. But yeah, my interest in visuals started from primary school with National Geographic.
How did it turn into music?
I think music
Which
happened. I think music happened by accident. I didn't get into music thinking I'd be an artist or whatever, because late 90s, early 2000s, audio engineering was still audio engineering. So this was the era before computers were in the studio, so everything was analog. So engineers were trained to calculate, if you want a particular type of reverb, how do you use your calculator and calculate the parameters to put it in, how to record the sound according to what the client wants, how to get things on tape without manipulation post-production. So I think the geeky side of me was interested in the science behind the music. I wasn't interested in the chords, in how the songwriting was done. I was more interested in the process of getting the sounds done. Like how did that sound happen? How did that vocal recording happen? That was my interest for audio engineering. And that stemmed from my interest in digital music. I think electronic music, digital music. So electronic music was your Prodigy, Chemical Brothers, Moby, all these bands. I can't remember the name now. Chemical Brothers especially. So that fueled my interest more into like how these weird sounds were done, because this was before computers, right? So and then Labuan, nobody does that stuff. So you don't see the hardware, you don't see the gadgets, so you don't know any of this. So I was really invested into the technology or the ideology or the how it's done behind the music. So that's what got me into it lah. So that's what got me into DJing at first. So from DJing went into audio engineering, and from there, yeah. Did that answer the question? Did that answer the question? Did that answer the question?
I guess. I guess. You guys can just jump in and ask questions, opinions. We do a kedai kopi session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tidak payah risau.
Yeah.
Just come in and
You
ask
need
lah.
clarification ke apa-apa ke? Just
Like-
excuse me, I don't understand this.
Who is Chemical Brothers?
Why you lie? You know, whatever.
Uh,
Oh, even the Bee Gees was a big influence. They had an album that was very electronic. High Civilization, that's the name of the album. So from Bee Gees being disco to electronic Bee Gees, that was crazy for me. So Bee Gees was a big influence. Sting for his lyrics and his approach to how weird his music was. So the weirder the music, the more attracted I was to it. So I guess in a way, all this weird music was being done in a weird way, which is why I like weird stuff. So yeah, it was always the science behind it, like how those sounds were made those days without computers and everything. Yeah. Not so much songwriting or chords. Until now, I'm still bad at chords, but it's always the science behind it.
so this is. Do you call this music at that time, or this is because what I can see is I'm a painter. I see colors, not images, and what I understand from what you're saying is like these are sounds, not yet music.
Yeah. So even with music, I see it differently. I don't see it in chord structures or whatever. I see it as visual placements in your head of where the sound should be. So when I produce, it's very 3D. So that's why the sounds I choose are very weird because it travels in your visual head. So wherever space that is there, what sound fills that space, or what complements that sound with another sound. So when I do sounds, it's more on how it fills the imagery in your head versus how it sounds, if that makes sense. So that's why with chords, I'm not very anal about it. Like I'm not like, oh, it has to sound better. Now, if it works for the song, it works. But if it doesn't work for the song, it doesn't work. It's as simple as that.
Is that why your sound? I mean, your music, your touch, is I won't say weird, but macam it's ahead of the Sabahan scene punya. It's like it's kenapa macam ni macam tambah futuristic.
I guess those were the influences of what I listened to. Like I wasn't listening too much to your regular pop stuff. I was very much into British music, definitely British and European music because they're always experimental. Americans maybe, but I felt America was more towards mass consumption, while British was like, I don't care who listens, I'm gonna do what I like. I feel that way. Like not Crystal Method. Like Chemical Brothers is one. Tricky is a guy who was doing lo-fi before lo-fi. So Tricky was doing trip hop way back in 96, 97. So he was doing dark sounds and doing it in such a way that no one was doing it. So I think originality is a thing like I like. Like I don't want to sound like somebody's. I know you can find the inspiration for where my sound comes from, but it's hard to say I'm copying from somebody. So from when I came up, everyone was original. Like nobody was gonna copy from somebody. You can be inspired from, but you're still gonna have your own original sound. Now my sound, I think I intentionally wanted to be more British sounding, like how Gorillaz is. You know, it's pop commercial, but it's Gorillaz. It's weird, it's Gorillaz. So I've always leaned towards that. Even with hip hop, it was like MF Doom, all these other Dr. Octagon and all those people. Even though you listen to Death Row and all those people, right? But like Wu-Tang was different. I was a big fan of those. But yeah, British music, I think, influenced my musical taste a lot.
So when you started creating music with these type of, can I say, arrangements, did it make through the scene in Sabah? How did people react to it?
For that, right, it depends a lot on the clients. Like I would have your radio friendly stuff as well, and then my personal stuff. So with my personal stuff, I know radio is not gonna pick it up.
Your friendly stuff and your radio friendly stuff and your own things, does it come from the same ideology?
Yeah. I mean, even though it's radio friendly, radio friendly has a template. No, you got your 4-bar intro, 8-bar verse, 16-bar chorus, 8-bar verse, 4-bar, 8-bar bridge, chorus, ending done. So I'll play with that, but I'll still play with drum patterns that are not regular, unnecessary hi-hat pattern, or get backing vocals that why is it so complicated. There's always one element that is complicated that shouldn't fit, but it fits. So I think that's my signature. And I always like to play with the arrangements as well. Like I'm always like, why does the solo have to be in the middle? Why can't the solo be at the front? Why can't the bridge be at the end? Why does the bridge have to be in the center? Why does the verse has to be 8 bars? Why can't it be shorter than that? Why can't I repeat the chorus once and then later on do it twice? Like I'll play around with arrangements, but when you're listening to it, it's still a radio song. Like Bruce Ambition, Before You're Gone, Mosok. Like Before You're Gone, arrangement was an intro, verse, chorus, guitar solo, and the end of the song. So that was it, 2 minutes, and it stayed on radio for a year. So I still believe melodies are the ones that sell the song, not the arrangement so much. Asians are very big on arrangements lah. Like Malaysia, Indonesia, I especially I think, where we're very caught up on arrangements, like how the piano sounds, how the string is, are there enough orchestral arrangements in this? But then when you go to European side, it has a very minimalistic approach, but has the same impact. So that's me lah. Like I like simplicity. So the focus is always the story of the song. That sounds like a very far off answer to the question.
Saya macam puas hati ni. Like this is like a buffet of geekiness.
I don't know, everyone okay with that? Any questions so far? No? We say noise.
So you started DJing.
Oh yeah, 97.
After-
The day I
wow.
finished my SPM, I went to the club. My dad brought me there, hooked me up with the DJ.
Your
and said,
dad?
yeah, he brought me clubbing. He didn't bring me clubbing lah. He brought me to the club, introduced me to the DJ, and I started as an apprentice in 97. Yeah.
So he knew you like these kind of things.
I told him I was into DJing. I was buying music technology magazines, DJ magazines. So.
Wait, okay. Can I say your dad is not the typical Indian dad?
Oh, hell yeah.
Then music? What the?
Oh, backstory, my dad. I don't know if he's gonna watch this. He used to
Hi,
he used to
uncle.
work in the military, doing radio something. I can't remember what. Not radiotronics or radio whatever lah, but part of radio. So whenever they had parties, he actually started off. Back then, DJs were just playing music back to back, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't really mixing, So he would do that. So he would compile the songs, everything, all the vinyls, whatever, play, and he would host parties. So I think that's where the DJing thing happened. I don't drink. My dad does.
Your dad OG, sial.
He's a party guy.
Now I can see the Indian side. So what was DJing like in 97?
It was very limiting. We only had like now you got the jog dials and all that stuff, right? So back then in 97 it was just buttons. So it was like literally stop, play, pause, play, stop, millisecond rewind forward, skip track, whatever, and that was it. And a pitch bend, so you can bend the song faster, slower, and a pitch shifter to change the tempo. But that was only a +8 or -8 or +8, so it's very limited. So you're very limited to your song list where you had to keep the beats quite close together. And it was basic, but yeah. And the CD players back then was so picky. Even if you have the CDR, these Denon CD players would be very picky with the CDRs. Like you put in a CDR, it wouldn't read. You have to buy the original CDs to play. Like stupid.
Okay, let's tone down the geekiness kejap.
Alright.
I wanted to know like the clubbing scene in 97.
It was very varied lah. Because this is Labuan lah kan. So you had the clubs where people were drinking and doing drugs. So those would play, I guess, late 90s techno, which was very 140, 150 BPM and go do, and people didn't care what was playing. They would just put their heads in subwoofers and go bang out. And you would have that club scene, and then the classy ones would be like the hotel clubs and everything. So there'll be more R&B, pop-ish. I had a customer once who wanted to play Britney Spears. This was Britney Spears was popular. Hit Me Baby One More Time. I'm like, no, we don't have this in the club. Like, we're not gonna play this. So she came the next day with her own CD. Said, now you can play the song. I'm like, what the so like we had to play the song for her. So we had to play Britney Spears in the club.
And then after that, like orang lain pun mau. I want this.
I guess that was where pop songs started coming into the clubs. So that was where it wasn't fun to mix anymore. So R&B, pop songs, people wanted to hear stuff on the radio in the clubs as well. Because back then the radio songs would be remixes. So even though it was R&B or a slow ballad, it'll always be a house remix, like 120, 140 BPM, even though the song was at 80 BPM or whatever. But then it slowly went to like whatever was on radio was the same one people wanted to play in the club. So that's where I stopped. I got bored of it. So I stopped DJing like 2002, 2003. Because I was into like DJ Quicksilver, Sasha, Quicksilver, Sasha, yeah, Chemical Brothers and all that. So I was very much into big beat and house music. So my house would be like jazzy house, funky house. But the extreme was either R&B pop, Venga Boys, or Venga Boys. You can literally play a whole album of Venga Boys back to back and the dance floor would be full and happy. I couldn't, I gave up. I just went to the speaker and like, I cannot do this.
It feels like visual arts and music is underappreciated. Can you say that?
I think for KK lah, this is for music lah, right? I think music is not underappreciated. It's taken for granted just because everybody sounds, how controversial, everybody sounds okay. Like everybody can sing, can hold a note, everybody can strum a guitar.
Yeah, you're Sabahan, of course you can sing.
Yeah. So everybody takes it like, everybody can do it. So what? Literally lah, so what?
Shit.
like you go karaoke, right? Everyone sounds like a good singer.
What's your opinion on karaoke?
I don't like karaoke.
Why?
I don't like it when people can't sing and sing. I mean, I don't like pitchy vocals. It irritates the hell out of me.
It's karaoke.
I cannot. My head goes into like, why you sing that note? I start twitching and like, I end up walking out.
There must be like a one first experience when you're, karaoke, let's go. And then you're like, the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, that was in Labuan. That was like 96, 97. But that karaoke was a whole different karaoke lah. That was like a whole different karaoke. That was like karaoke and girls and karaoke. So that was the karaoke. Like yeah, no, that was definitely not for the singing. No, but for singing, I think KK lah, the big karaoke, how big people are in karaoke here. But I just cannot lah. I cannot when. I don't know. I just cannot. I just cannot deal with pitchy vocals. That's why I don't sing.
Okay, fast forward. You went to college.
Yes.
Learn audio engineering.
Yes. I cannot fix a TV. My neighbor thought going to audio engineering meant I would come back and help her fix a TV.
I thought radio.
No, she said TV. Oh, you can come back and fix my TV, huh? Like, candy.
I'll send invoice. Just contact orang lain ni.
Because audio engineering even now is not a common thing. Like people know what an audio engineer does, but audio engineering on its own is so big, such a big scope. It covers everything from acoustic treatment, acoustic design, equipment maintenance, doing live setup, doing studios, and everything has the same common ground but a very different discipline. Like yes, the mic sounds the same for mic, but how you tune the mic for live versus recording is so different. So it's not something you just copy paste and you apply the same technique. Because with like if you're doing live, right? It's so, the sound is so dependent on where you're doing the sound. Like if it's open up here, I don't have to EQ anything, it just leaves it be as it is. But if you're doing it in the hall, it's gonna be boomy, it's gonna be reverberous-ish. So you're gonna cut down the lows, cut down the highs a bit. But then if you're in a recording, in a recording studio, it's different. It's dependent on who the vocalist is, and what mic you're using for the vocals. So there's some mics you're gonna use, you don't have to EQ. Some mics you have to EQ. So that's why you have multiple mics in recording studios for different vocals. But yeah, it's a very different mentality with audio engineering. So when I started audio engineering, being in the studio suddenly appealed to me. All the knobs, 48 channels of uncertainty and not knowing what each button does appealed to me. It didn't freak me out. Like, I want to know that. I want to know how you use that mixer. So I decided, like, I'm going to be the studio guy. I'm going to just stay in the studio. I don't want to do live. I can do live. I don't like doing live. But yeah, studio became my thing in college. I would literally not leave the college. The lecturers had to chase me out once. They started shutting down the studio. I had to quickly and this was analog, right? So it's saving on tape and stuff. It's not really quick. They started pressing buttons. Like, stop, I'm saving. Stop. Leave, Chris, go home. And he literally pulled me out the door, closed up, everything was dark, pushed me out the door, got me into a taxi and sent me home.
Berapa orang yang macam kau dulu begitu?
My batch was quite small. I think we started off with 28 or 30 people. 18 of us took the exam, only 9 of us passed. But the studio rats was maybe 2 of us. The reason I became a studio rat was because dari Labuan kan, there's no studio in Labuan. Even in KK pun, the studios are not like what it is in KL or the colleges. So I knew that was my only time to do all of this stuff that I cannot do back here. So I experimented everything and did as much as I could there.
You were Chitu's junior, right?
Oh shit. Oh yeah, SAE, yeah.
If you guys know this singer Reshmonu, so Chitu is his audio engineer lah kan? Producer lah.
I don't remember, I think audio engineer.
So they won AIM, and this is from his college lah. So yay. Trivia gitu.
So Chitu is actually a visual artist, award-winning international exhibiting artist. He gave up audio engineering because it sucks. Not it sucks lah. It's just money is slow.
Wait, when you graduated and then kau pergi sini, you work with. When you tell me these stories kan macam sila macam kenapa jauh ah? Like, what were you doing? Like all these contractors lah, apa semua?
KK is small, right? It's a small industry, small scene. So there were only if I can remember, maybe 2 major studios. Like I knew all that. So there was Mo's Music, which is in Asia City. So Mo's Music had a label as well. So they had like Clarice John Mata. I'm forgetting all the names. Clarice John Mata and all those people lah. So they were doing major Dusun albums. That's where I met Sunny Bahari. And then there was Ram, which was what more I wanted of, where they had live room, they had drums, they had a piano, they had a mixing console, and it was a recording studio. I didn't want to be in a label or whatever stuff. I wanted to be in a recording studio. So the problem back then was, they already had assistants and everybody else. So there was no role for me to come in, and I came in with 0 experience straight from college, right? So I had to find a job in KK first lah. So checked out the newspaper. There was magically one. They call it ELV, extra low voltage company. They were looking for an audio engineer to help design their sound system for school halls, for their ones, for all their contract projects lah. So I got a diploma audio engineering. Okay lah,
Still
apply.
related lah.
Yeah, kind of lah. I mean, I studied it, right? So when I filled in, I was the only guy who had a diploma, so I got the job. So came to KK. Then I had to look at architectural drawings, read the electrical, the heights and everything, how the wiring was done, what wires were going to be used, the distance between it. Then calculate speaker placements versus minimum and ideal people standing area or listening placements. So I had to sketch and draw and calculate this speaker at this wattage going out at this speed is going to hit this person here at what volume. Then approve the drawing or not, or tell the client you need better speakers, or your speakers are overkill, or this is not the right type of speakers. And then come up with a design of how we're going to implement it, how we're going to do the wiring, how we're going to set it up, how we're going to train the client, and all that stuff.
Is there like a building you're proud of? Like, I designed that.
No, because a lot of the buildings were pre-designed. So a lot of it was like trying to fix it and save it. Yeah. It was. There's one school I think it's SMK 551. I can't remember.
Kinarut.
Kinarut. So for some weird reason, the contractor decided to put 3 horn speakers. So horn speakers are the ones you see in the masjid, the surau, those horn speakers. So 350 watt. So in context, if you're in a football field and you have one horn speaker, a 50 watt will cover the whole field. So this is a 2 badminton court hall, and there are 3 horn speakers inside with 2 subwoofers hanging. So when I looked at it, I was like, I don't understand this. I did my report on what the issue was, blah blah blah, but the contractor said, no, just do it. It was horrible lah. If you're in the hall, it was so loud and so ear pain levels was so, and the frequencies were so bad, like the teachers hated it. But the moment you stand outside of the hall, it sounded fantastic lah. But I was outside the hall. So what we had to do was I had to disconnect 2 of the speakers. So in the hall, the 3 speakers are one in the center, one left, one right. So I killed the left and right, left the center on. I killed the subwoofer. Then it sounded okay. Then the teachers were happy with it. So they have a fantastic system with like only 30% used and everything else shut.
Saya mau segue sekejap.
Tunggu, do you know that the Likas Mosque has subwoofers in the wall? Yeah, so it's got 6, I think 300 watt speakers. So 6 times 200 watt speakers hanging, and I think they have 400 watt subwoofers in the walls. And that's the Likas Mosque.
And this is good.
I mean, for what they do is overkill, but yeah, it works.
Alright.
It covers the frequencies from high range to low, so it's okay.
Saya mau lari topik.
Okay,
sekejap.
yes, sila.
This is like in my head right now.
Go.
Roger Wang
Mm.
designs like guitar,
Mm.
kan?
Mhm.
Is it like the same concept like you designing sound for a
Oh
hall?
no, whole different thing. Guitars are a thing of its own.
Macam the sound, the resonance.
It has lah, but the structure of doing a guitar is different lah. It's like you building the guitar is you building the hall. Like my sound system is just the pickups, the input on the guitar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
What's up, Kev?
So you got a job
Yeah.
with
A construction company. So I had to run next scaffolding. I had to drive the company van, masuk hutan. We went to a palm oil plantation. We got stuck because it was drizzling and the mud was so bad we couldn't drive out. Yeah, to do a lot of that.
How did you end up with project?
Oh, persistence and annoyance. So for 4 years, I had my job at the company for 2000 to 2004 before I joined RAM. So for those 4 years, every month I would SMS Roger, I will call Roger. Do you need an assistant? No. Okay. Next month, do you need an assistant? No. Okay. Do you need an assistant? No. Okay. I did it for 4 years.
Every month.
Yeah.
Like,
Then one day he said, hey, you still interested to be an assistant? I'm like, yes!
no.
So without going for the interview, I quit my job and everything. So when I went for the interview, you still working right? Nope. I sent in my resignation already. I'm working here.
You have no choice.
I didn't give them a choice.
Ada competition lah.
I don't know, I didn't ask.
Terus kau nampak, oh, he used to produce for Rashmonu.
No, I don't know. I was just so ready to go into the studio. I think, yeah. So even in that 4 years, it was not as if I didn't meet Roger lah. I did demos. I would hang out with Walter Samunting, the guys who were working at RAM and jamming at RAM. So I'll be at the jam session. I'll randomly pop up to the studio. It's like one of my lepak places lah. So it's not like as if I didn't really know them but no, I didn't really know them lah.
I have this experience of the RAM jamming place thing.
Yeah.
I feel it wasn't. We talked about this topic with a friend, Nadira Ilana, and she mentioned that RAM Studio at that time was, like this place where creatives in KK hang out, and because of that, some kind of a spark, some kind of a that physical space was the start of the movers and the shakers of the KK music scene. Well, what's your opinion on that?
RAM was very much the meeting place for a lot of people, and it was a very chill out spot. Like even though we were salary staff, we like layan as if we own the place. So like I wouldn't go home until like 3, 4 a.m. Like I would do work with Budin, the UMS lecturer at that time. He'll come over at 10 p.m. Okay, come on, let's do something. Then I learn some bass tricks for him, how the bass works and everything, and then he'll try my recording methods and do weird songs. So we have done a few songs together. So it was always, RAM was always a space for experimentation and collaboration. It was always a space where money wasn't really mentioned first. It was more like, hey, you want to try something? Let's try it. Hey, you want to do something? Let's do something. Hey, can I ask about this? So RAM was that meeting point where knowledge was shared among everybody. So even your guitar has problem, you bring it in, Walter will take a look at it, we'll figure out, we'll give you hints on how to fix it and all that. You pay us to fix it or you can fix it yourself. But basically it was a very much of a community of like-minded people who, it became just a lepak place. Like a lot of the rimba used to jam there, and then when we had jam sessions, we would end up messaging other people to come over. These are still the days of SMS. So SMS people. And they will just come to the studio in our lounge area. We form a big ass circle and we'll just start jamming. So if there's guitarists on one side, percussionists on one side, bassists on one side, and they'll start ping-ponging stuff back and forth. And then for the studio, it's always who wanted to experiment, because I wanted so much to do different things. So I would always pester, hey, you got a guitar thing you want to try? Come, okay, come to the studio, let's try it out. You want to try this song? Let's try these loops. Have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? So that's where I met like Jessel, Lester, all these people, tons of people actually. I just blanked out on names, so bad.
Okay, let's jump to the keras kit punya scene, like metal, metal. There was one time yang I came in and then I saw Mantak. Was it? How did you get into that? Like you just happened to
Get into recording the bands?
yeah. I mean these
I think it was because I think one of the main reasons was I was the young guy at that time. So and RAM was either me or Roger. So I guess you want to do metal with Roger is a bit weird. Not to say Roger can't do metal, but it was just who they could click better with. So in Mantak, Naz is actually from Labuan, even I don't remember meeting him in Labuan. So one of my first projects when I joined RAM was doing Mantak's, I can't remember which, I think it was Sabah Hell Blasphemer album. So that was my first time properly running a recording session on my own and everything. So daytime I would record a Catholic choir from Kulu, and then nighttime I would record a black metal band. So the yin and yang was awesome. But with Mantak it was learning on how the metal scene was, what the expectations of for recordings and all that, how they were playing it and everything. So even now I will still say Mantak is one of the very unsung technical bands. It may be messy or whatever, but the way he plays it is so technical. Not a lot of people can copy what he does. But recording it was an experience. So bloody loud. We really blasted the speakers.
was Mantak the first metal band yang came to you?
Kind of. You just wanted to record a song. I was there. I was like, yo. He said, yo. Okay, let's do it. Alright. Set time. Alright. And just whacked it out. Then we click lah. So we lepak at mama and all that stuff.
Other bands macam dia datang pergi tengok kan, can you do metal?
Oh, that was common because I was such a hip hop head at that time. I dressed hip hop, but I love metal. So like this hip hop guy recording metal was something people couldn't understand. So there was a time in my career where people thought if they recorded with me, everything would become 808 and heartbreaks or hip hop stuff. So a lot of metal bands were segan lah. But then when Mantak came, even Crown of Horns did the drums at my place, vocals. Bestial Hordes, Harakiri was a fun punk band to do. But a lot of punk scenes lah. I think those that came with open ears, it was okay. Those that came with expecting visual representation of what they wanted to sound, not really.
Visual representation.
Like you have to look like the metal part, or you have to look like the genre.
Oh.
Because when we were in audio engineering, it was always implemented or hammered into us. As an audio engineer, you are not stuck on one genre. You're an audio engineer. Your job is to engineer audio. So,
So
that's
how did you look at these
I mean,
dangdut pop?
okay, dangdut was something I couldn't do because I could never catch the rhythm. I very cacat with dangdut. But when it comes to audio engineering, right, the basics are the same. How do you record it to tape? How do you get the performance to tape or to record it? And how to make it sound good. So whatever the genre is, the concept, the base root of it is the same. My job is to record you the best way I can. So genre never really bothered me much.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Setakat ni? If not, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Let's go somewhere else.
Let's go somewhere else. In this career of yours up to that, yang kau cakap tadi kan, was there any time yang you had a girlfriend or anything yang outside of music or any? What was life for you?
It's just a studio, man. They even made a joke that one of the spare rooms should be my bedroom, so I can stay in the studio and not go home. I had no life. That was literally the studio.
How did you met your then wife?
Oh,
Yeah, how? If you're stuck in the studio.
that was 2009, 2000. No, I actually left RAM. I was leaving RAM. That's why I had the time. I was leaving the studio for another studio. I was setting up another studio, a failed studio with another bunch of people.
Okay.
So it was at that transition period lah where it happened. After that, I missed so many family events, so many weddings, so many dinners, so many parties. That's where it kind of broke up also lah. That's why the marriage didn't happen as well.
Can we go there?
Yeah, go!
How did you cope?
Studio.
Shit.
I just dove myself into work lah. Work was everything for me because music, the audio engineering was the passion. So I was in a lucky situation where my work was my passion. So why not just do it lah? And
So
the
you
mo-
had tunnel vision and
my goal was to be the mixing guy in KK, like Sabah lah if possible. So the only way to do it was to do as many jobs as I could, do as many mixing as I could, work with as many diverse type of bands as I could, which I think I did lah, and push them further. I always felt Sabah was at a point where we could blow up nationally. The quality was there. It was just the arrangement and the method of recording or the mixing had to be improved for us to get there. So I took it on myself lah, without asking anybody yet. Like I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna do that. I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna to raise the level up lah. So I became the ass in the studio. I became a bitch in the studio that you
saya
hated.
complexity.
Yeah, like people hated. It came to a point people were angry recording with me because I said it's not good enough. The vocal take could be better. There's no emotion.
But you practically live in the studio.
Yeah. So your guitar playing, you can't strum the guitar that way. If you want it to be heavier, you have to strum it heavy, like you're literally on stage. You can't just sit down and sayang your guitar. You have to abuse your guitar for it to sound abused. Like that was my mentality. It still is lah. You have to play it. You have to play it like you want it to sound it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was the reaction from?
Oh man, I was so hated. People hated recording with me. I mean, I felt it lah when bands stopped coming to my studio. They went to another studio because they would edit. Okay, this is me. If you're recording free tempo, I'm not gonna copy paste and chop parts up for you because the tempo is messed up. So there's no way I'm gonna copy paste your chorus to the next chorus because your verse is faster than the first verse. So I don't do that. So they would go to other studios who would do it for them because I don't do it for them. So it became to a point where, Chris, Trip Quality or Trip Radio, or he wants to go commercial. So the push for better output of quality was also my Achilles heels lah, which also my yin and my yang lah. Literally, it was my best thing, the worst thing for my career.
Back in those days, when you have a band, when you have a thing with music, what was the motivation to record?
To capture the dreams in a song and to see that dream happen, because everything you write is essentially a dream lah, kan? Like why else have a band, right? So if I can make that dream happen, that was my thing lah. To see a client listen to the song and smile, that was enough, man.
So that's you.
Yeah.
But your observation on Sabahans. What were they doing with all these recordings?
Wasting money. I mean,
And they're not going anywhere.
basically it was still a hobby lah. I was too serious with it. I took it as a career, as something you can make money from, something you can do for life. But a lot of Sabahans back then was still saja, something on the weekends, something after work. It was just a hobby lah to a lot of people. Yeah, I would say a lot of, like 70%, 80% of the bands. It was just a hobby. They would not take it seriously. So there was no investment in themselves, no investments in their own quality, their own sound. It was just janji rakam bro, janji keluar mah.
Yeah, got CD.
Yeah, got song out. Yay.
There was a time in hits Sabah top 10. Was that it?
Yeah.
And
Era also.
in the top 10 list, 6 of the songs are
Not exactly 6 lah. Okay lah. So what he's saying is this was 2010, 2012, in between 10 and 12 lah, or maybe 10 to 12. There was the Era FM and Hits FM. So Era FM had Borneo, Carta Borneo Era. Hits had Hits Borneo charts. Translation literally. So 20 songs every week on the chart. 60 to 70% of the songs came through me and the studio, through Ram. So at that time it felt easy lah. Like I knew what a radio song could be. I knew the quality of a radio song. It's easy to get there. You just have to follow the rules. Work on a click, good melodies, clean recording, masuk radio already. Yeah lah. So 60 to 70% of the charts was me.
would you say this is like your time?
I think it was. Because I was just recording everybody and anybody. I was doing discounts. Here's the thing on why so many songs were mixed by me. I was not charging for my mixing back then.
What?
Yeah, because I felt my mixing wasn't at a point where I could charge.
So you work for free?
Kind of, because I needed the songs to
Exposure.
mix. No, I needed the practice. It wasn't the exposure. I needed the different type of songs for me to mix to know I can get to a certain point. So it was only 2012, 2013, 12, 13 that I said, yeah, I'm there. My mixing is there, my mastering is there. That's when I started charging. So before that, like $100, free or so I'll do. If I really like the song, I'll mix it for free. Yeah, none of them said any of that, did they?
You
Come
were
on lah.
you were
I
critical.
was doing songs for like 400, 500 ringgit, 6 hours of recording, mixing and mastering, bro. That's like almost free. I still consider it expensive. I cannot
What
breathe.
was the rate back then?
It was still about. It's lower now. It was higher before. It was 100 an hour before to record.
No?
Like, I don't know, 60, 70.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because it's getting easier?
It's getting more affordable to start. That's the key. It's not easier. It's getting more affordable to start.
Or these singers are just older and they have money now?
Not really. It's just like, oh, senang. I can pay $800, get an interface, get a headphone, get a mic, and I can record at home. So it's easier to start lah. Doesn't mean you're gonna sound good.
Oh, segue sekejap lagi. Is it true that if you're a
Habis battery?
really?
Yeah.
Ha, Egan didn't charge battery, ha.
So kasi nito ah.
Ha,
ada
ha,
satu lagi, ada satu
ha.
lagi. Let's
Pause.
have a break. We'll change that.
Alright, stop the recording also.
Alright.
We will be back right after this. Welcome back to Sip Sip with Egan. I'm Chris and this is your host Egan. Should I record?
We changed it to Sip Sip Show.
Have you recorded it?
Yes.
Ah, oh, sorry, I outdated Sip Sip Show.
I got people sudah. I got
Ate.
families sudah.
People.
I got
Yes, got
family.
one people.
Yeah. My mom went to the pasar. Dia tunjuk kami semua. Oh, this is my crew. They work for me. Like, I'm your son. Anyway.
Okay.
Hello again. Tadi sudah cerita pasal all these geeky technicalities, history of the did you finish about the?
I think we can always jump back into that later.
Okay.
Let's go with your questions.
Yeah, we have questions.
Your questions. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I want to ask you. Is this like a coping mechanism if you get like into this low? How you say it? We're gonna go into
Let's go.
mental health. Not mental health. Like I know you have your up days and your down days, and I notice how can I ask you this?
Hang on. Is it recording? Boleh tak? It
It died? What? Okay, pakai ni sila, pakai ni sila. It's okay. Kenapa? Tidak,
Jap.
berisik.
Ayo.
Yeah, you have your up days and your down days.
Yes. Oh my. That's how I look. Okay. Sorry.
We'll do something in post later.
So orange.
You're a red Indian.
I'm a confused Indian.
Um,
Yeah, you're saying up days, down days, and
yeah,
then
I noticed. This is my observation. Like you and shopping. You and kenapa tu?
it died.
Never mind lah.
Just use one camera.
Yeah,
We'll
just
be
use one.
okay. This
So
is the
you
Sip
have
Sip show.
you have a way of coping with your
So what's your question again?
you like how do you deal with emotions?
I don't. I mean, a lot of times I don't lah. It's either but it's still I'll always escape in the studio. Like if I'm overthinking, I can't chill or I can't sleep, I'll rather spend my time in the studio. So whatever music I do is very emotional. That's why my music is always dark, angry, and sad. Ish.
So now you're in a relationship.
Hmm?
Is that affecting your production? I mean, what
Um,
you produce?
Not really. I still can't write happy songs. I'm still good at dark, angry songs. Happy songs, not so. What it does for me is I have more of a balance. Like I'm not in the studio all the time. But it's starting to get there again. Where I'll go in like at 2 in the afternoon and go home at 2, 3 a.m. Sometimes stay overnight if I got extra work to do. So I think the studio thing depends on the workload. But I'm more ready to walk out of the studio if I don't have to be there, as opposed to before. The shopping thing, okay the studio was my escape. If I was always stressed, mixing or making beats was my escape. It would de-stress me. I would feel it's like my endorphin. The shopping thing is that's a coping mechanism. But I come to a point where I shop for things I know I can resell. So even if I buy something now, I know a few months down the line or a year down the line, if I'm tired of it, I don't like it, or I need the money, I know I can sell it. So I'm very picky with what I buy.
I think I bought one or two of your shoes.
Yes, you did.
I have questions from friends. Can we?
Gila, banyak siap.
Yeah, banyak. So okay, question number one. You can take like
Okay, let's go.
short or long time to answer lah. Are you satisfied with most of your work?
Music or photography?
I guess this is both.
Both. Photography, yes. Because I didn't put so much expectations or emphasis on photography in a way. Like, I knew I liked it. It was something I wanted to do since a kid, and it kind of came naturally. So with photography, the weird part is I didn't overstudy photography. Like if you ask me to name heroes, I would have Pete Souza, Amri Ginang. That's about it. I don't deep dive much into photography technique. It's more on why you took the picture. So photography is more of an emotional thing. Now, yes, with photography, banyak I've done. I'm very happy with. Music, hell no. Every time I mix, there's always something I could mix better. Every time I recorded, something I've recorded better. Every time the song that's already hit the radio, I'm listening in the car, I'm like, could have tweaked that better, or could have done something better. So with music, it's never ending. So the process with music is learning when to say, I've done it the best I can. I have to let it go. If not, I'll never finish it. That's why my albums have never come out. Every year I'll do tons of songs, but nobody will ever hear it.
Okay.
So music, no. Photography, yes.
Second question. What are your criteria or benchmarks that your work must achieve in order for you to be happy with it?
Wow, that's a good one. With photography, again, it's easier because it's something you can see. So I think with photography, I've reached a point where people know my style, so or know how my photos will look like. So with photography, if it's a photo that I go wow myself, I know that's like my benchmark. Like, yep, okay, I'm done with photography. Don't have to overdo this. So even with portraits, that's why I do my portraits. I try to keep it at 45 minutes. I try not to overdo my portrait photography, because I know if I don't get it in that 40 minutes, mentally the client will zone out, or you just tired from trying to pose so much. So with photography, it's faster. I try to go quite fast with photography. So my benchmark for photography would be, I don't know, with photography, I know when it's good. Like I know when it's at a point where that's it. I don't have to do anything else.
Feel lah.
Yeah. With music pula, the benchmark, oh my lord. When it sounds good in the car, on your handphone, in your earphones, and it sounds good everywhere, that would be the benchmark. For recording or producing, it's very emotional as well. So when the vocal and the music meets and the feel is the right emotional feel, the delivery is right, even without mixing the song, it will sound as one. Once you reach that point, that's when I start mixing. That's why with Stevel's Iyano, we did like how many versions of the verse? Like 6-7 versions of the verse before we found the right verse. Then we did the recording. Even with the recording sessions, we did few video sessions, few recording sessions before it fit right. So with music is, once everything feels emotionally tied in, there's no awkwardness in the instrumentation, no awkwardness in the vocals. You're not forcing it, everything sounds natural. That's when you know, okay, that's it. That's it. Even though the client thinks, belum lagi ba, I've only done this 2 takes, we should do more. I already know instinctively, emotionally is the best. You can try another take, it'll be technically good, but it won't be emotionally good. So with music, if it emotionally fits, that's when I know it's there.
Even in the first try.
Yeah, we've done songs where the demo vocals were the
I
vocals.
paid for 1 hour.
Oh yeah, I've had tons of clients who do that.
So,
I mean, the song went on radio anyway. So.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did a discount lah kalau begitu lang. Tu fuck.
Some they do, some they actually don't mind paying the full rate. Because when when the end product happens, they're like, oh shit, sounds good. Okay.
They're not really paying for time juga kan. They're paying you.
I wish that was how people see it lah, but they still see it by
still in
they
Sabah.
still quantitative.
Would
Did that
you
answer the
say?
question?
I get, yeah.
Okay.
Would you say your dissatisfaction with your work prevents you from putting your work out there?
Yes. Next. No lah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if like how I guess why it's easier for me to produce or work with other artists is because I know how to push and pull them to get to where they need to be. But if it's my own self, I guess it's emotionally hard for me to get where the song needs to be. It's either I'm overthinking the lyrics, or overthinking the music, or overthinking the recording technique. So it takes me a long time to do a song I'm happy with, just because because it's me lah kan, Chris, Decipher BKI, I've been doing this for how long? I cannot put out a half-ass project. Every project I put out has to be where people associate with my name and it makes sense. So that's where the other side, I cannot fuck it out lah. So with Decipher BK, I can't put out a verse that sucks. As a rapper, I need to make sure my verse is better than the other verses I've ever done. So that verse stands on its own. So every time I write a verse, it has to be better than the last verse I wrote. Yeah lah. Yeah, actually. But then again, if you don't do that, right, you don't improve.
Yeah.
If you stay in a safety zone and you know that's my sound, I'm happy with that, I'm going to stay there forever, then stay there forever and don't complain if you don't grow.
True.
But then again, if you want to grow
You guys
and you
can
don't,
disagree,
yeah. So then again, the other side, if you're too perfectionist or you want it to be too perfect and nobody ever hears it, what's the use of doing it? So that's where I am now, lah. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Macam
you know, I don't know.
ada 10 geng.
Go!
What would you like to capture most through your work?
Wow, well, this is both music and
Macam it applies to both.
I think with photography, my tagline is moments, not photos. So with photography, is moments where you don't realize it's even there. So even with street photography, I try to take street photography without identifying where the street is. Like I don't care if it's in Rana, wherever, or KK. I want to take a photo where people don't know where it is. So I guess with photography, if I can take you to somewhere where you cannot identify where it is, but you can relate that to that photography, that's what I want to do.
Music?
Music, huh? What I want to capture? I think emotions are. I want to capture. Okay, like I don't know. I guess this could be the answer. Is when I work with a talent who doesn't know the talent they have, and you capture that, you perfect it, and you make it presentable, and then they hear it and they're amazed at what they have done. That's what I want to do. So like when I record with musicians, sometimes if the parents are the ones that come or family members that come, you can tell whether the parents or the family members are invested in them or not. So 90% of the time they're not. They're just there because my kid wants to spend money. So my satisfaction is when the parent hear it and you can see that pride and that, oh my god, my son, my daughter did this.
Ada nangis
Almost lah. They can see that change in emotion in them and they're like, when's the next time you're coming to the studio? Like, when's your next song gonna happen? So that happened with Beverly Rachel.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah, Beverly Rachel was one of those situations. So yeah.
yeah.
Capturing that, capturing your dreams and making it happen. That's why Eyes and Ears, we believe in dreams too.
Is it the same?
What?
Is it the same as 10 years ago? Wow.
What is
Okay.
the same as 10 years ago?
It's like an open-ended question. Like,
Is it the same as 10 years ago? No.
back in my days.
Photography, yes. Musically, no. Musically now, I feel we're pretty stagnant. No one is willing to experiment. No one is taking chances. Collaborations don't happen. Music is stale. So no. Music, no. Photography, yes.
It's kind of bleak.
Have you heard the radio recently? Like just the fact
hits
lah.
era closed.
Like just the fact lah. Like who listens to radio anymore? So nobody does. So what happens is you end up listening to things you know or things you like repetitively, without influx of things you don't listen to. So what you listen to don't change.
Sedih siang.
Yes, man. Randomize your playlist, people.
Why has it changed? I mean,
Why has it changed? Let me see. Access to internet, faster data consumption, TikTok, lack of patience. I think access has changed it a lot. When you didn't have access, you would have to research to get the access. Now with access alone, you don't even research what you're listening to or who you're listening to. Like even when I'm driving, half the time I don't even know who's singing. I'm like, who's this singer? Then pull aside. If I'm really interested, I'll pull the card to the side, start Wikipedia, check who the singer is, what other songs she's done, and all that. But back then, the only way you could find songs is by researching the artists you like and then discovering other artists that has influenced your artist. But I think that doesn't happen now. So because of how fast you get access to new artists, new music, appreciation and research doesn't happen anymore. Yeah.
How's the appreciation for your photography?
Externally from Sabah, a lot better than in KK. In KK, I think there's a certain way of looking at photos. I try not to fall into that group. But if it's events and everything, it's quite okay. But when it comes to street photography, I still think my audience is not here.
You had a very special experience in Mindanao.
Yeah, we did.
You wanna
Whoa, you might have to remind me of this experience. What experience?
elementary school students.
Oh my lord, yeah. So, what's so cool about education in Philippines and the appreciation for arts? Elementary school kids are allowed to ask questions that wouldn't be allowed here. Questions like, is religion a factor in your artwork? Do you show it in your artwork? Is religion how do you know your artwork is done? Is like God speaking to you when your artwork is done and all that stuff. So it was interesting to have those questions as well. I don't know, was that what you're trying to say? Oh, yeah.
And also this group of people don't repeat their questions.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So even though it was a whole school that visited the exhibition, every student had a different question. There were no repeats in the question. So to answer the questions to elementary kids, you're like, I never thought of it that way. Give me a moment, let me think. I don't know. So even if you answer, like they ask you, is religion a factor of is a factor in your art? And you say, no, it's not. Then they'll ask you, but why not? And you're like, because I don't want God to tell me what to do. But does not God not give you the talent to shoot what you're shooting? Then you're like, yeah. So it makes you think. But yeah, but no, I don't represent religion in my artwork. In my lyrics, when I write, yes, I will dump in bits and pieces of religious stuff in my lyrics. Like it's not in your face, but it's there, because I can.
okay.
Habis? Oh,
I'm gonna skip some of these.
why? They're
Ada
boring.
yang pasal anak lah.
Oh, like what?
I think this covers from the Mindanao one. Like what can you
Oh.
learn from children?
Okay. Oh, what we can learn from children is good. I learned that I had to learn from my students when I was doing teaching music business. Like, I had to be as open to my students as they were open to me. Because with fresher eyes and younger minds, they see things differently, they absorb information differently.
Sounds like a slogan.
So, yeah, with kids, it's amazing what they like and how they see and how they absorb things. So if you can connect to kids, you know your artwork is going to go far.
Okay. Alright.
Why you jilling me like that?
Like yeah, this is something yang I'm learning too.
You have 2 kids.
Where do you think you're lacking? Oh.
Gears.
You have enough.
One can have never enough gears. Like one can have never enough sneakers. And watches. And gadgets.
Anyway,
Okay, where am I lacking? I think decisiveness lah. Like I'm never happy with my own personal stuff. Patience. I get super quickly irritated if I have to balik repeat myself in a recording studio, or balik explain to you why you're repeating the same mistake after we're doing it for the 11th take. So yeah, patience lah.
but the Chris 10 years ago and today is different.
Oh yeah, it's more chilled out now.
Why?
He's old. I've got too much white hair. I cannot afford to be that old anymore. I think because when I was like 10 years ago would be 30. Oh shit, 10 years ago was 33. Fuck. I think my 20s and 30s was because I was still partially active. Like, this was hip hop lah, but I was still active as a rapper. But I felt what I was doing my own, other people here could be doing. Like I saw the template for what bands could do to grow and explode and be bigger than what they are. So my anger and my frustration was when these bands didn't want to try, or they didn't think they had the talent, or they didn't believe in themselves. And my frustration was, all these wasted talents. So it was annoying lah. Like, you can do it, just push it a little bit harder, do a little bit more. No, the one we're happy with this. And half-ass. And they want to complain why the radio don't support them. I'm like, duh. So my frustration and annoyance came from being able to help these talents, but not being the person that's helping them do it. Like, the template was set, so easy to follow. At that time, so easy to stand out and grow. So to see so many bands miss that ride, miss that bus, and slacked off, sad, man. Frustratingly sad.
The next question is, do you have any regrets?
What's the song? I have regrets but a few.
Flank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra. Regrets. I think being too hard on bands in the beginning, where I didn't know how to let them do the mistakes instead of learning from my mistakes. It's like I didn't want them to repeat my mistakes, but they had to learn the mistakes to learn what they had to do. And I'm not good at that. You're very good at that, where you can be diplomatic and enforceful at the same time. I'm just enforceful, like screw diplomacy. Like, you want your guitar to suck, do that. You want it to sound better, do this. Like, I think finding a middle ground in communicating would have been better. But also not taking on the success of a band I'm working with on my shoulders, but let them work it out themselves. Like, not carry their burden on me. Because a lot of times I was expecting and doing more for the people I was working with than they were doing it for themselves.
The last question she had is...
And also not finishing my albums.
Still time.
Kind of missed the boat.
That's Steve.
Yeah, same lah. Like, yeah.
Last question is kind of like romanticizing everything. Was it all worth it?
That's a good question. I think yes. The only parts I would say not worth it was me trying to champion. Not trying to champion lah. Like, thinking if I could push the bands and they followed my methods or what I thought they should do, then everything will be amazing for the bands. I think that one was one thing I think not worth it, because it ended up me carrying more of the burden of failure than the bands did. Like, when they broke up, I'd be more pissed than they were.
Your voice suddenly like dari sini ni, like what's happening?
I mean, like, yeah lah, like,
Feel gitu.
no lah, it's like I carried so much frustrations and burdens that were not my frustration or burdens. Like, the success of a band isn't my issue. It shouldn't be on me, especially if I'm not signed. You're not signed a contract with me, or I'm not managing you or producing you. But every band I worked with, I treated them as if your success is my success. So I think a lot of my anger, frustrations was because I believed in them more than they believed in themselves. So macam saya buang my tenaga and masa lah. I wasted so much time and effort on people who didn't believe in themselves.
Okay, last one from me.
Oh, last one already.
We will open. We'll force them to ask you questions.
Okay.
There was this moment.
When was this?
RAM is closing down. And everything is like everywhere. Samak gila, motor. And I brought someone to the studio. And you said like, shit. I was ready to go to KL. And now this happened. Can you tell that?
Oh, that was Stable Lumbasi. So when Egan introduced Steve Earle to me in the studio, I was like, "Ayah, another Dusun singer, please lah." Then Steve Earle picked up the guitar and he sang, and that was it lah. That was, when I was talking about the perfect harmony of emotions in the song, how he played it and how he sang it, it clicked. And the last time I heard something like that was the Jade Sisters, when they sang together in harmony, and I was like, who is this singing? Like, yeah, that was the Jade Sisters lah. So Steve Earle was that next click. And even how we worked with Tambalut and the songs that 1 PM LDO and all that stuff.
And you don't do Dusun songs before. I mean,
I did lah. I did Esther Apollonius. I did a few other albums. Adex, I mixed and mastered his. I was featured on Lida Khalidin's album. I was featured on both Esther's first and second solo albums. But my rapping is all English lah. But yeah, I worked with Esther a lot for her 2 albums. Yeah.
oh, sorry.
I don't speak the language, but I do the work lah. But I tried to stay away from it because I knew the language barrier would be a thing, especially if I don't know if you're pronouncing the word correctly or not. So I stayed away from it lah. I could record them and all that, but I always tell them you have to have somebody who can direct you on the pronunciation whether it's correct or not. But yeah, can. Oh, but then my frustration with the whole KDM, Dusun, whatever scene is the expectations on quality are like how much you want to work. Like me and Esther can work. We did a main vocal for one of her ballads. We spent like 4 hours just to get that one main take done. And she would listen to what I didn't like, what I liked, what she wanted, what I wanted, and we found a middle ground. And we worked 3 to 4 hours for a 3-minute plus song just to get the main vocals done. That doesn't happen with a lot of local artists. Even with the J Sisters, they worked hard. Like we did an EP of 5 songs, but they brought to me like 9 songs. So out of the 9, we picked the best 5. We rejected a few, some we released later. But I have reasons that I will explain and tell you why that song is not right for this, or why this will not fit the EP, or why this is stronger than that, or why your verse sounds like a chorus, but your chorus sounds like a verse, or your bridge sounds like a better chorus than the actual chorus. So people who are willing to work with me on that, that's where we make better songs up. Yeah, boy. I got a track record to prove it.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, wow.
Can I open the floor?
Oh,
Can this
shit.
reach you?
I don't know. You just say what he said lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh. Oh, I knew it was something I wanted to do when I was in college, so since 1999. But I only said I could do it 2012. So between 1999 to 2012, all I did was try to get the mix to where I wanted to be, to find my position in the mix lah. So it was a lot of grinding and practice lah. Like now, it used to be every year. The sound of what people listen to change. Now it's like every 6 months to almost every 3 months things are changing, so you have to adapt faster to mixing. But the question was how I knew was when I knew I could do different genres and I could get that radio sound, that commercial sound to where it was lah. So once I reached that part where like, hey, I can do this consistently, that's when I told people I could mix. Yeah, other jobs and everything. Or even when the client is even surprised with the mix, and when I'm surprised with the mix, like, oh yeah, I did that. Yeah. Yeah. Not so much my own personal stuff lah. I never been happy with my personal stuff. It's always other people's stuff. Like I think the pandemic was Sabah's EP mixtape, the Budak-Budak Ijam song. I did one for Warner, I forgot who. So you come to a point where it's a job lah, literally. So mixing isn't fun in a sense where you have to meet the client's criteria. So sometimes you'll do it in a way where you think it's not right for the song, but you have to do it because the client needs to do it. So being able to detach from the song is a good way to know that you can do it lah. As long as you're flexible, you can do what they want you to do. Yeah. Like that, I think.
Thank you. Ada lagi?
Ada lagi. Yeah. If I like the band, I would definitely say I'll mix for you lah. Don't have to charge me. Mama food all the time. Stop no buying anything. No girlfriends. Not going anywhere. Literally lived in the studio. I mean, I spent my Christmas in the studio. Even Raya would be in the studio. Even if there was no clients, I would be in the studio just to mix. So I would dig songs I did 2-3 years ago, open them back, flatten out everything, do everything from scratch, and then just mix up. Yeah. So if I can make a better mix of a song I thought was good, then I know I've leveled up again. So yeah, it was a lot of grinding lah. I had the same car for 16 years, bro. Yeah. I used to borrow money from him. Like, dude, got
I
50
borrow money from you.
Yeah, got 50 ringgit. I got contra the other one. Alright, contra each other. Yeah, a lot of grinding, a lot of sacrifices. I think I knew my mixing was okay when KL started calling. They started asking me to mix. Then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. But personally, it was 2012, I think. I knew how to mix. Yeah, sucked, man.
Itu episode lain katanya. Itu saya kena interview lain.
The thing with mixing kan, KK is not critical with reviews. Everybody will say everything is amazing even though it sucks. Because everybody takut mau kasih sakit hati orang lain. So that's why in the scene, I was always the asshole because I would tell you it sucked. But that was how we came up as audio engineers, where everybody tell you it sucked and then they'll tell you why it sucked. So if nobody tells you your work sucks, how are you going to improve, right? So that's why I always talk to my peers or people I looked up to. I would send them my mix. Bro, can you listen to this? Give me pointers or what you think about it. And if they give me feedback, I appreciated it lah. If they don't reply my email, whatever lah. But just reach out to other engineers or people who you like their mix. Send it to them and see what they say about it lah. Yeah. Just don't trust Sabahan so much. Even though I'm a Sabahan, please. We're too gentle. We're too gentle with reviews. Nobody has told me I did a bad mix. It sucked.
I guess. Any more? Ada lagi?
Alter is thinking but doesn't want to say.
Ya, jahat ni soalan dia kalau keluar tiba-tiba.
Tanya lah.
Anything you want to ask just for the record?
Oh yeah.
So you explained that you practiced a lot at the studio.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time there, but what other ways you use to improve your skills? Like listening to other people. Because if you stay in the studio and you mix, it's fine, it's practice, but I suppose you need also something from outside.
Oh yeah.
Outside to
Uh,
learn more.
So I was lucky when I was coming up. We had Mix magazine, all these magazines, and then now it's Mix Online lah. So Mix Online, SOS Online, Sound on Sound. So they would always have different techniques of doing things. So I would apply those techniques in when I was practicing my mixing. Apply those techniques, and then I think the best is always to how I improve myself was to visit other studios or other engineers. So I made the jump, like travel KL, meet people. That time Twitter was a thing, right? So hit them up on Twitter, yo, can I come by your studio? They said, okay, sure, come by. I'm free at this time. Come by, ask questions, listen to how they make, sit down, see what they do, and just learn from other people that you look up to. If you're looking with your peers, it's fine to figure out how to do things, but to improve, I still think you need to work or talk to somebody who is you look up to for it to go up. If not, everybody will just stay at the same level. Yeah, like that. So whatever you read, whatever you do, test it out in your mix. You don't have to use it. Do what works for you. So there's so many methods to EQ, so many methods for compression, like New York compression, which is parallel compression. There's so many types of compressors to use. Everybody's so hung up on different types of compressors. Sometimes the compressors you don't like are actually the compressors that work the best. So it's like, and the most common thing said is mix with your ears, not your eyes. So that means just because you see the EQ, the graph thingy, it doesn't mean where you pull down is where you need to pull down. You still need to sweep, because you'll be surprised where you move it and suddenly shit, it's over here. It's not here. So yeah, don't mix with your eyeballs, man. Use your ears.
They faham.
Shall I elaborate?
Please don't. But yeah, I mean, yeah, yes. I give you the permission to keep geeking out.
So am I elaborating?
Uh,
Okay, here's my what I feel is not wrong lah, but because graphic interface are so amazing now, the graphic user interface GUIs, that people tend to forget to mix on feel and hearing. They're mixing on what they're looking at. Like when you open your EQ and there's an analyzer, and you see, oh, it's peaking here, I need to EQ here. But that peak might actually be the resonant that you need in that vocal, that sound that makes the vocal. So taking it away because you think it's not supposed to be there, it's mixing with your eyes and not with your ears. So sometimes the EQ may look wrong, but it sounds right. So it sounds right. Even with compressing, okay lah, there are guidelines for compressing, whether you're over compressing or not compressing. But I use compressors as tones because each compressor has its own tone. So yeah, different compressors for different instruments and how much you want to control the dynamic range versus automation. So another thing, compressing is not controlling volume, it's controlling dynamics. Automation is controlling volume.
Macam saya faham sikit. Anyway, yeah, okay. Right. Any more questions?
Oh yeah, please.
So, for those who are starting different
Eh.
can you give just a bit of advice that you wish that you do?
Learning how to compose your photo. I think that's what I wish I knew. Nadira surprisingly was the one, not surprisingly, Nadira was the one that taught me about the rule of thirds. So Nadira taught me how to frame rule of thirds and everything. So if she didn't tell me how to do that, I wouldn't know. I think, okay, I didn't have my own camera until 2012. So before that, I was always borrowing cameras. Whoever the camera, I'll just use whatever it was. I'll just use. My first camera was from Julian Lee.
So, Julian,
It was a Canon 400D and had a Tamron 90mm 1.8 with only manual focus because the autofocus was messed up. So that was my first camera for a few months. I shoot everything. I would shoot group photos with a 90mm camera. So like stand across the road, like, oh, close up, okay. Like yeah. With photography, I think I would say it's just have fun with it, experiment with it. Don't have too much expectations of what's going to happen, because I think what people forget with photography is discovering your style of shooting. Once you find out how you like to shoot, what you like to shoot, that's when you go into what gear you need, what you actually need to get what your shots are. So yeah, just have fun with it. And please, forums are forums, but forums are not rules of life.
last one.
Oh no.
When are you gonna do your own podcast?
Before I turn 45. Got 2 years to do. It's actually in the pipeline. Alter is actually going to help me shoot. So I have done my I have done 3 episodes of my podcast 3 times in 3 different locations under 3 different names. So I have to decide on one name and one location, and I'll start soon. Definitely, it's in the pipelines. I just have to just do it and put it out. Like don't expect it to be perfect. Just put it out. That's the Indian side saying. Chinese side is saying you crazy ah. So many things to factor in.
No
How you
money
do?
one ah?
Yeah, no money, no branding, no location. You change place, your name how? Who you gonna talk to? You guess your friends ah. Like so many things to factor in. But yeah, the podcast coming out. I think January lah we should start shooting. So the idea is to shoot 2 or 3 episodes in a day, edit it and slowly put it out once in 2 weeks maybe. Yeah. If not, I'll never put anything out. So I have to do at least 2 or 3 episodes in a day to put it out. I've interviewed Sunny 3 different times as my first guest, and we've never put out any of the podcasts.
Betul bang?
Yeah, Sunny. We did one at Six Pack Baker. We
Yes.
did one at Under the Clouds, because the title was something under the clouds. The third one we did at Smart Bar.
Kepala otak.
Yeah.
Just get it out lah.
It's
Sunny 1, Sunny 2, Sunny 3.
just because there was no continuance after that, so macam dia gantung lah. Like I everything like it's just time and work and everything clashed, so I couldn't. It was just me doing everything lah, so it's kind of like couldn't handle everything.
Congratulations in advance for the podcast that you're going to do next year.
No pressure. Yeah. I should interview us. I think we did one. Yeah, we tried.
First
to do,
guess.
We tried to do. Here's the ironic thing. We recorded the audio. We didn't record the video. You're like, it wasn't recording. Oh yeah.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. But no, Sip is already doing it. I don't want to do it.
Wih, hantam cincai ni geng.
Well, that's a cool name, man. Hantam Cincai. The Hantam Cincai Show.
We have one more? Tidak?
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Anything from you? Ate, ada mau tanya? Belum kau ingat apa?
Sudah banyak tanya sudah.
You? Any last questions?
Where we eating after this?
Oh yo. Hiya. Pereira squad. Pereira sponsored. Censor that shit out. Anyway. No. Anything? Nothing? Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you Smart Bar for the sound system.
Yeah.
Thank you Chris Pereira again.
Thanks Egan and the Sip Show. Thanks Ate.
I just want to thank you for all these years of shit from me.
Okay,
Dari-
this is how we work. He's the Mr. Positive, I'm the Mr. Negative, and everything sucks. He's the one everything can do, I'm the one nothing can do. So that's how we work well on projects, where he'll dream it up, I'll break it down, and then we'll find the core of what we need to do. So yeah. Like he'll tell me, when in the Philippines, they ask me questions about my photos, and I try to articulate what the photo was and why it was important to me. But I didn't know how to do it, so I kind of dumbed it down, and he got pissed at me because I dumbed down my artwork. Like I made it look stupid. I took away the X factor from the photo. So I'm like, so if he didn't tell me that, I wouldn't know. So, like that lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you everyone for being here. For spending so much of valuable time.
How do we end this?
We'll just edit lah. This has been the Sip Show episode entah berapa with Chris Pereira
Watch
and
it.
everyone else.
Entah bila it's coming out.
Yeah. After New Year, confirm. Banyak lagi tu yang saya bawa kasi keluar.
Anyway, thanks guys for coming. Thanks guys for watching.
Thank you and good night.
Peace. Yay!